of Hutchinson Design Group, and we are pleased to be the conference management company working with SEMC to produce a fabulous conference, the best ever. And also online with us is Joel Arthur. Joel, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joel Arthur. I work for John Parker at Hutchinson Design Group, coordinating for them and excited to participate in this conference. A fully successful conference at that.
Thank you all.
And then Kyle should be on in a minute, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Okay. Well, he can just let me know when he's on. I'm to the point where there's so many people on, I can't really see anyone except for
no worries.
Immediate space. But you know, so this is between SEMC's hardworking staff. I think our intern Kenia Pearson is maybe on somewhere as well, but we will be at the registration desk there to welcome you. The Hutchinson design crew will be behind the scenes and in the session rooms and helping with AV and the coordination of all the technology in the session rooms. I would encourage you, we'll do Q&A at the end. So just think of whatever questions you have, if you want to drop them in the chat so that we remember, or else once I turn off the stop share, we can just all get back on together and hopefully we can answer whatever questions or concerns or anything you might have. All right, so let's see. Oops, what's next? So just a few things about, we're 3 weeks out from the conference, 21 days, something like that. But a few things that you can be doing now just to get ready for your experience in Louisville. We are using an app called FeedLoop Go. That was going to be where you're going to find all of the conference sessions and where you'll actually be able to design your sessions. It's not quite ready yet for all of the attendees, but if you want to go ahead and download that onto your phone so that you can see what it looks like and just get familiar with it, that's a good thing to be doing now. In terms of you can be looking right now, and all of these links again, if you are following along with the PowerPoint. Oh, look, we're 19 days from the annual meeting. But the full schedule is up on the FeedLoop, our web portal for the FeedLoop site. So you can go through each day, see what sessions are available, see who's presenting, and really just begin to think about what it is you want to do with your time when you're with us at SEMC. You can read more about the speakers. Most of them have uploaded their bios and a little bit more information about them. And you can also go through the full speaker list. You can search for sessions or speakers or just the general schedule. The FeedLoop site, I mean, we've been building it. I will say that this, we're still making updates. We've had a bunch of speaker changes, and so continue to check that. Yes, John.
I should also say, those of you that have used FeedLoop before, whether it be at SEMC's conference or another, you'll probably recognize, but those that haven't, we will be sending out an invitation, or rather the FeedLoop system will send out an invitation from feedloop.com, PHEEDLOOP. If you have not received your invitation by Monday, please reach back out to SEMC, probably Heather, and let her know. I will say that we are using the email addresses that are in your wild apricot that you use to register for the conference. So if your email address has changed, or if you have more than one email address, we just need to get that synced up so that you do have the proper invitation.
Thanks, John. Yeah, and we've been working behind the scenes to try and coordinate that. So hopefully all will go smooth. Okay, so let's go back to this. Another thing that you can be doing now is share these conference graphics, and hopefully you've received them. If you haven't, now you have the link to each one in the drive. You know, for instance, if you're a speaker, well, I can't get it to open, of course. But anyway, those are the conference graphics. They look basically like this one. They're great to share on social media on various platforms, and it's a good way to connect. And we have them for speakers, attendees, exhibitors, sponsors. If you haven't received these and need more, please email me. But this link right here does go directly to the graphics. Finally, you can start to learn a little bit more about Louisville. The Explore or Go to Louisville website is really helpful. One of my favorite parts to go to is the various neighborhoods that are around the city. We've got a lot going on at the conference this year, but if you're arriving early or staying late, or maybe you want to just drop into an evening reception and then go do a dinner someplace else, this website is very helpful in terms of restaurant listings and just kind of the nuance of the various areas of Louisville and what are the cool things to do in each area. So I would encourage you to go there. Our local arrangements committee is also putting together a list of their favorite places to go and places to eat, restaurants. So Heather, will you put that in the chat? Is that ready to go? And if not, we'll also have all of this information at the registration desk. Okay. Arriving in Louisville, for those of you who are flying, you will want to be, hopefully you know this by now, flying into the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. The code is SDF. There's a link here about getting to and from the airport. I will tell you that I've flown into this airport multiple times now. There are plenty of Ubers and Lyfts if that's the kind of transportation you're used to taking. It's about $20. It's really only about a 15-minute, depending on traffic, ride from the Galt House Hotel to the airport. So I would plan on about $20 for an Uber or a Lyft. If you are driving into Louisville, the parking, we have negotiated a rate of $10 a day for self-parking at the Galt House, which is awesome because usually I think it's like 22 or something crazy like this, but they want you to park in the East Tower. So here is the Galt House Hotel. I'm just going to pull this up, and I also hyperlinked this in the PowerPoint. But if you haven't been here, this is what to expect. There's two towers of the Galt House Hotel. There's the West Tower with the big Galt on it. This is the tower where most of our sessions are, where the registration will be, where most of the sleeping rooms are if you're staying at the Galt House with us, where the expo and the the major ballrooms are. This East Tower over here, they also call this the Suite Tower, and it just the rooms are bigger, they're suites. There are session rooms in the Suite Tower too. And the cool thing is both towers are connected by this atrium, which is also has a nice bar, and it's a nice place to meet. If you're meeting people there, it's huge. It's a good place to meet. But that's sort of but this East Tower parking is where you want to park if you're driving into Louisville. And I asked the Galt House Hotel, and basically your name is already, if you're staying at the Galt House, your name is already connected to this conference. And so that $10 rate will be part of your bill when you check out. For those who are just perhaps attending for the day and you're driving in, park in the East Tower, and we'll have a $10 parking voucher for you at the registration desk. So just some details there. All right. So at the Galt House Hotel, those of you who were with us in Arkansas last year, we had some food challenges in terms of what was in close proximity to the Embassy Suites where we were. That problem is non-existent this year with the Galt House. There are 4 restaurants on site. I also linked here, but these are all in the hotel, everything from this sort of very nice rooftop restaurant to a casual place, this is where you'll probably go for breakfast, Walker's Exchange, if you're interested in that. And then there's a couple other on-site bars. I will say too that one of the things this year, breakfast is not included with the rooms. So that's just something to think through as you're planning. That was a nice perk of the Embassy Suites. They had that full breakfast every day, and it's just different this year at the Galt House. However, Selma's, which is in that atrium part that I talked about that connects the two towers, this is a great place for just coffee or grab a muffin or just a quick on the go type of breakfast, and their hours are all available. So also within blocks, going back to this view, just so everybody can see it again, of the Galt House, I don't want to make anybody sick here, but if I turn around, the stoplight that's up there, that's Main Street. And within a block on Main Street, there's multiple restaurants and different places that you can walk to from the hotel. So there's a lot to do around there. Okay. So I'm just going to run over these real quick, and then I'm going to let Heather and Carla jump in to add whatever they want to. But when you get to the conference, first of all, I would encourage you to look at the Galt House virtual tour that they have available, also hyperlinked, so that you have a general sense of space. But here, I'm going to show you this ballroom foyer is where registration is going to be. This is in the West Tower. It's on the 3rd floor. Am I right about that? Yeah. Okay. So this is what it looks like. This is where we'll have our registration rooms set up. The expo hall is down here in Archibald. And then Cochrane is where we'll be doing some of our really larger sessions. But this is where you can plan to see the SEMC tables. And then just for context, there's that atrium that I was talking about that connects the two towers. So most of the session rooms are on this floor in the West Tower, and then there's a few in the East Tower, and so you'll just go right across the atrium. We're going to have lots of signage and volunteers to help with wayfinding. I will say that the Galt House is also very well informed with signage. I mean, everywhere you go, there's arrows pointing, but we're going to make sure that people know where they're going. In terms of transportation for off-site and evening events, all the buses will be leaving from the West Tower. That's we'll keep reminding everybody of that throughout the conference. And after being there for a few hours, this will all make more sense. If you are planning on attending any of the luncheons that are on site, you must pre-register for those. We just, due to the pre-planning for food and meals and space, we cannot take luncheon payments or additions on site. So if you think that you want to go to the director's lunch or the curator's lunch or the educator's lunch, please go ahead and add that to your registration now. And that is through November the 3rd is the last day to do those registrations. Let's see, in terms of the expo hall will be right behind registration in that big Archibald ballroom. And I'll talk a little bit about this later, but there will be multiple breaks throughout the day with some snacks, some light fare, so that you can go in and take a break from sessions and talk with the exhibitors. One thing, and then I'm going to stop talking for a minute and turn it over to Carla and Heather. The evening events this year, the evening events are included with your registration. So we'll communicate about what they are and what time the buses leave and all of that. Most of the evening, actually all of the evening events are generously sponsored by the local museums. So all of the local museums in Louisville who are hosting events, they have organized this, and they have found funding and sponsorship dollars to help pay for these events and provide a nice party and a way for us all to gather in the evenings. There will be light bites and food at all of the events. All of those menus are available on FeedLoop, on the FeedLoop site, in that event description. So if you're, thinking, hey, I wonder, is there going to be enough here for me to put together a dinner? Or what does it look like? You can go on FeedLoop and check out and know exactly what to expect in terms of menu choices and options, and if anything is vegan or gluten-free, or what they have available. So we've been really appreciative of all of the local museums for providing that information. The cost of everything is pretty up these days, and we're all living through it. So in terms of drinks, there will be cash bars at the evening events. So if you would like to have a beverage, whatever it may be, bring some cash, bring a card. But that is definitely, but again, all that information is available on FeedLoop. In the expo hall, we do have receptions, an opening and closing reception, and we will be giving all of our attendees one drink ticket to use at either of those receptions, and beyond that, there will be a cash bar. Okay, Heather, Carla, what do y'all have to add?
Well, I'll start with the registration. So registration is going to be kind of the hub of the conference. This is a place where if you have any questions, if you need to know where to find something, we're always going to be there, and we'll have all the information that you need. Registration is also where you're going to pick up your name badge, your tote bag. We'll also have the conference ribbons. We'll have pronoun buttons again this year. All the QR codes that you need for all the sessions, we'll have those available. Information about the buses will be there. So basically, registration is we'll have everything. If you have a question, we're going to find an answer for you at registration. We have about 25 volunteers that'll be helping us man registration. They'll also be checking people in for the luncheons. And I will mention that if you do have a food restriction, when you're checking in for your luncheon, the volunteer will hand you a ticket that you can give to the server so that you can get your the meal that you need to get for your food restriction. We'll also have a schedule at a glance at registration. So, it's not going to have everything, but it'll be a good opportunity for you to kind of see, what the schedule is going to be like for the conference. Let's see. Oh, the silent auction. We are having a silent auction this year. And so if you do participate in the silent auction, registration is where you will pay for your auction item. The auction is going to be that Tuesday. It's going to open at 9 a.m. and it is going to be a hard close at 3 p.m. So if you want to bid on something, make sure you're there between 9 and 3. And then you can pick up or you can have your payment come to registration and pay up until 4:30. If you can't pay by 4:30, then you must come the next day, which is Wednesday, by 12 noon. And we will take cash and credit cards and checks.
All your money.
We'll take all your money.
So I'll also add, we will have a series of QR codes. So if you are, paper conscious, we will have QR codes so you can just simply download stuff on your phones as well. So QR codes to the attendee list if you want to pick that up. We'll have the conference app. If you perhaps forget to download it before you come, we'll have that available to you. The map, I know there's a lot of, West Tower, East Tower, but we'll have that conference map available to you as well. So you could, again, pick that up and have that available to you. So yeah, we'll be ready for you. And if you think of anything, we should be able to answer any questions that you have about the space, about the sessions, and anything else you need to know.
And I will add, everyone is going to get a name badge. If for some reason you need a replacement for your badge, if you lose it or something happens to it, we will be able to replace your badge, but you'll have to come and pick it up the next morning. So we're not going to be able to give you a badge right then when you tell us you need one. You'll have to pick it up the next day.
Right. And one other thing I'll add before I turn it back over to you, Heather, about sessions is that if you are attending one of the luncheons in the Galt House Hotel, we will publish those menus as well. We haven't quite finalized the food choices just yet, but as soon as we do, we'll get that information on FeedLoop. You know, I know that it's important for people to understand what the meal is and what to expect. So as soon as we have that information, we will get it out there. And in terms of alternate meals, it's really the sort of choice of the day, I believe, with the Galt House catering staff. So again, we will do our best to make that as transparent as possible and accommodate as best we can. So, all right. So let's talk about sessions. We have a lot of we have a lot of sessions this year. We're super thankful to everybody who submitted proposals, and our program committee had a really hard job narrowing down. We had a ton of great proposals, and so I think it's probably going to be tough to choose what you want to go to, which is another reason why I would really say take a look at the schedule and try and plan things out beforehand. If you're coming with a group of people, you might want to fan them out at different sessions, you know, so that there's various people from your museum represented and taking away all the great information. All right, Heather?
Yeah, so again, we'll have sessions in both East and West Towers. We have a map coming up, so that will perhaps make a little more sense once you see the map of the spaces. But just be mindful that the sessions will not be in just the West Tower. It will be in both West and East Towers. The session rooms will be familiar to you if you've been to an SEMC conference or any conference for that matter. There will be laptop, a projector, a screen, water stations will be available if you need that. Most rooms will be set up in theater style. Some will be in rounds. We will have tech teams on the ground ready to go if any sort of technical issues arrive. They will help us sort anything out. We have ordered additional or extra audio equipment. So we're mindful of sometimes sound being an issue, but just know that we're doing everything possible we can to ensure that you have a good experience. And we're doing our best to make sure everybody can see and can hear. So again, as Zinnia mentioned, we have a jammed packed schedule. So perhaps you may want to sit in on parts. Sometimes people try to catch a couple of different sessions, but we ask that you be mindful of how you enter and leave sessions. You know, just make sure the door doesn't slam, or if you plan to leave early, try to sit in a place that you can leave without causing too much of a disturbance. Again, like Zinnia said, you may consider tag teaming some of these sessions with your colleagues. So have, you know, you and a couple of friends go to a couple of sessions and then come back and share your notes. And that way you can just, you know, kind of benefit from several different sessions without having to go to all of them. But it is a jam-packed schedule. And again, we want to make sure that you have a good experience. And we just ask that you be aware of others. And but we want you to experience all we have to offer this year. For ASL. So this year we're excited to host an attendee who is blind, and this attendee will have an ASL team. And so
Not blind, Heather. Hearing, not blind.
Who is deaf? I'm sorry. There we go. Who is deaf. So this attendee will have an ASL team. So sorry. So you may see them around the conference, and it's quite possible they may be in your session as well. So if you're looking in the Feed Loop app and you see the American Sign Language logo, as you see on the screen here, that means your session will have the ASL team in there. So you just want to be mindful, and we want you to be aware that this is also happening, and for you to be mindful of the ASL interpreters as they work. So we're excited about that. And for Zoom speakers, thankfully, we only have a few this year. So again, we've made efforts to add additional audio equipment so you will be able to hear and have a good experience. But there will be some sessions with Zoom presenters. We want you to be aware of that. But hopefully there's just a few, or thankfully there's just a few, and we want everyone to hear. So we'll try our best. And for the evaluations and QR codes, we will continue with our paperless session evaluation process. Again, by using QR codes, we've asked session presenters to include that code in their presentation. So at the end of their presentation, you should be able to scan the code there, or the session shepherd will have the code. So either way, you'll have easy access to the code, and the evaluation is a simple Google form. It's designed to be filled out quickly. It shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. The sessions are listed in time order. So when you open up the evaluation, you'll see session blocks. So you'll see a block for the 9 a.m. sessions and the 10:30 and so on. So you'll just scroll to the correct time and click the session that you attended and fill out that evaluation. So if you attended last year, it's the very, very same process. And we just really encourage you to fill that out as soon as the session ends or as it's closing, because if you're like me and you don't fill it out immediately, you'll forget. So do it as soon as you can. And these evaluations are extremely helpful to us and the speakers, because they're able to kind of improve and hone their presentations. But it also helps SEMC get feedback on what was successful. And we'll also use your feedback to, look at our 2024 session proposals and also virtual programming. So it helps us better serve you in the future. It's a small part, but it has a big impact. So we encourage you to fill out those evaluations. One last thing I'll mention about the session rooms. It may or may not be hot or cold. We simply don't know. It just varies from location to location. So I would encourage you to wear layers throughout the day. We've run into inconsistencies where some parts of the building are hot, some parts are cold. So we will obviously do our best to work with the Galt House team to, make the space comfortable. But just when in doubt, wear layers, and that way you can, wear a sweater if you need to, if the room's cold, and take it off if you, get into a place that's more warm. So dress in layers. Anything else?
No, I think, I don't know. When I think of conferences, I often think about being cold. So I always have a sweater with me. As you know, we are a little bit later this year in the season. So the temperature outside, who can predict these days, but it is almost winter. The time is going to be changing at the first week of November. So it will be getting dark around 5 o'clock. Just things to think through in terms of your personal experience.
Yeah, I
would definitely encourage everyone to bring a wrap, a jacket or something, because those session rooms can get cold. And I'm sure they'll probably still have air circulating, considering we're in a convention space.
Kyle, I missed you in introductions. Want to give a shout to everybody?
Hey everyone, good afternoon. I am Kyle Hutchison. I'm with Hutchison Design Group. We are the conference planning team. I think this is our 6th or 7th year working with you all. We are super, super excited. So bring all the energy. It's going to be amazing in Louisville. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. who wants to look at maps, but we will have these maps available. But this just gives you 2 towers, 2 different floors. I know it sounds confusing, and I actually think these maps look a little confusing. It's not when you're on site. If you again go to the Galt House virtual tour, that atrium, this conservatory area in the middle, really just connects everything. We will have those SEMC, the big, pull-up banners that show our logo to kind of direct people from one tower to another. And Carla's got a great group of volunteers who I know will be super helpful in wayfinding. Some of the session rooms are larger than others, but we've tried to really maximize our space. And again, make sure that all the rooms have a podium and a head table and everything that people need to be comfortable. So take a look at all of this when you get a chance.
Yeah, and also on Feed Loop and in the program, we've ensured that the session room and what floor and tower it's in, so you can just quickly glancing at a session description, what floor you're looking at, and you'll know the room obviously, but we've added the floor that it's on as well.
And I will say it's not like a 20-minute walk between session rooms and towers. It's maybe 5 minutes to get across to the other side. Just as I don't know, we were talking about this the other day, there is a UPS center in the East Tower of the Galt House, which has, all the extra services that UPS offers in terms of packing and shipping, obviously, but also printing. And, there's a pretty decent business center there as well. So if you are working on a session or need some extra computer services, they're around the Galt House. Okay, sorry. So as we're getting to the end here, but I just wanted to point out a few different special sessions that every session is special, but a few of the larger ones, some new things that we're trying this year or expanding on from 2022. And again, within the PowerPoint, each of these are hyperlinked to their session description in Feed Loop. So you should definitely go there and check that out. But Table Talk, this is something that we tried for the first time last year in Arkansas. The concept came from our very own council member, Lance Wheeler, and he pulled in Ahmad Ward and Bridget Jones, also on the SEMC Council. And the premise of Table Talk was we go to these conferences and we go to the sessions, and then there's the conversations that happen after the sessions, in the evening or on the bus or in the bar or wherever you may be. And so the idea of Table Talk was to create a space for people to have these conversations with a more diverse group than just, maybe who you're hanging around the conference with. And so we did this last year in Arkansas, and it was very organic. I mean, it started, I think Lance's first question to the audience is, are registrars really necessary in museums? And it started this conversation that evolved into a very direct communication among a pretty diverse group of attendees who represented all parts of the Southeast and all aspects of museums, and talking to each other. So this year, we're expanding on what we tried last year. Table Talk will be off-site this year. It is Sunday, the 12th of November. It is the third event on Sunday evening. There are 2 off-site events at the Fraser Museum of History and the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience. And then if you're interested in attending the Table Talk session, it's going to be at the E&S Gallery, which is in Louisville's West End. This is a spectacular art gallery concentrated on African-American art, and they have generously offered to host this event for us. There will be some light bites, some catering there, but again, we'll have Lance and Ahmad and Bridget to facilitating this discussion. And I would encourage you to go to the Feed Loop session so you can see what the questions are that they want to lead with this year. It really is an interactive space, but if you want to just come and listen and hear the conversations, we invite you to do that. The Table Talk is turning out to be a very special thing for SEMC. This year, we're also offering a plenary session. One of the things that, I don't know, I realized about SEMC is for the last, I don't know, forever, we sort of just start the conference. We don't really have a opening welcome. A lot of what we do has always tended to be towards the end with the keynote. This year in Louisville, we have an opening plenary session, and it'll be Monday morning at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10:15. And this was very specifically developed by the Louisville local arrangements team to address events that have occurred in Louisville over the last few years in terms of, social justice or racial injustices. And it's going to be a conversation between and how the local museums responded. So this is going to be a conversation between an artist, a musician, and an author, all very well known in the Louisville and Kentucky, the state, really. Silas House is the poet laureate of Kentucky right now. It's a moderated discussion talking about these artists are also activists, and a discussion about their roles, their personal involvement in social justice and working with the Louisville museums. So, and then there will be a question and answer section at the end. But I would encourage everybody to check this out. There's 2 sessions on Monday morning, the plenary session and then the general session. These are not running up against anything else. So these are intended to be sessions that bring everybody together to begin the conference. And so I really encourage you to attend. After the plenary, we will open the expo hall and have a 30-minute break where you can get your first look at the exhibitors, have some coffee and a snack. And then I would encourage everybody to go back to the general session, which again, this was developed by Dr. Kalinda Lee, who is on SEMC's council. She's our vice president. The title of this session is called Working on Purpose, Unapologetic Community Advocacy in Modern Museums. And so the premise of this is to take, sort of the individual activism that we'll be talking about in the first session, and then have a discussion among museum professionals about how, what this looks like in your own museums. It will be more of an interactive session, even though it's large. I know that their intent is to really engage attendees in this discussion. So I think that'll be really special. If it's your first time at SEMC, I almost wish we could have done this earlier in the day, but please, we have a special session at 4 p.m. Is it 4 p.m.? Right, after all of the blocks and sessions are over on Monday. For those who are new to SEMC, it's about 30 minutes, and it's just, me and a few council members or staff or people who have been sort of veterans of SEMC. I mean, I've been going for 20 years. Just welcoming people, those are individuals who are new to our organization, and giving you an additional insight into what to expect. And then we can all walk over to the expo hall next door to the opening reception together. So it's sort of like, if you come to SEMC knowing nobody, I always say this, that will last for like 5 minutes. I mean, it really is very easy to meet people, and I feel like we have a very welcoming group. But if you have this first timers reception to immediately come and plug into a group. This year, the business meeting and the keynote and the awards luncheon are all going to be on Wednesday. The annual business meeting, that's our organizational, so we will elect the new council members, kind of go over some highlights for the past year with the membership of SEMC, and then we'll go right into the keynote address. And this year it's Dr. Kevin Cosby, who is the president of Simmons College of Kentucky, which is an HBCU in the Louisville area. And we're really excited to have him speaking to our group. And then finally, after the keynote, there will be a block of sessions, and then we'll wrap up with the awards lunch, where we will celebrate all of the competition winners those press releases and indications of who's getting awards are forthcoming. And then there are individual leadership awards, which we will be handing out and culminating with a roundtable discussion with those who have won or who have been nominated and selected for individual SEMC leadership awards this year. So always a nice way to end the conference. And then we will announce next year's annual meeting, which is fun. Just a few other on-site events. The students, we have, gosh, I don't know, we have quite a few students joining us this year from various museum studies programs and colleges across the Southeast. And there's 6 groups at least that will be part of the SWIM program, which is student work in museums. So they will have poster presentations. Those of you who have been to an SEMC before probably recall this. We will have the students and their posters staged outside the expo hall somewhere near registration on Monday and Tuesday during the expo hall break. So I would encourage everybody to engage with the students, to ask them about their work, and to just really be supportive of the next generation of museum professionals. I believe it's on Tuesday after their poster presentations, they're actually going to have a session where you can go and learn more about their work. And again, that's in the program.
Yes, and it's November 14th at 10:30. So right after that expo sort of session, you can go learn straight from them. They're having a whole session devoted to their work, and so you can continue to interact with them in that session.
Okay, and then I want to leave time for questions here, so I'll just roll through these. Carla mentioned the silent auction. This is, again, Louisville Local Arrangements has put this together. We have not done a silent auction since 2018, so we're excited to bring it back. Any other things about the silent auction, Carla? I think you covered it all.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then, I just put the 5K fun run in there. Carla, you want to give a plug to the runners?
Yeah, so if you are a runner or even a walker, this is just a great opportunity. We've got a great member who always puts together a cool route for us in our cities, and it's a great opportunity to see part of Louisville on foot. Because sometimes when you're driving, you can't really see everything. And if you're like me, who are running a half marathon the next week, I need to get my miles in. So yeah, it's open. You get a t-shirt. It's really, really fun. So all abilities, runners, walkers, joggers, whatever. So everyone is welcome to come and participate.
And that's at 7:30 on Tuesday morning. I mean, if you want the t-shirt, there is a fee, and I will say that all of the money generated from the fun run goes towards scholarships for the next year, as does all the money from the silent auction. But if you don't need another t-shirt and you just want to come run with the group, that's cool too. Although I will say the t-shirts are really good this year, and they will be available at registration if you want to purchase one later. Just to wrap the final slide here, I know I mentioned it before, but this year our industry partner expo will be in the Archibald Ballroom. It will be right behind registration, and we have 57 exhibit booths this year. That's a significant jump from last year, and we sold out the exhibit hall a couple weeks ago. You can click on this link here and see all of the different companies who will be with us in the expo hall. This is a great opportunity to engage directly with, those who provide museum services. It's a friendly space. If you just want to walk up and take materials, that's fine. They're there to talk with you, to find out about what you do, what your museum might need. And there's all sorts of ways to utilize this service. Maybe you're interested in a job working with an exhibit designer. I mean, this is an opportunity to really get to know what these industry partners do. Also in the expo hall this year, we will have a booth from the National Endowment for the Humanities, from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and from the American Association of State and Local History. So, you know, there's some real opportunities there as well to make connections, particularly with IMLS and NEH, about upcoming grant opportunities, and to get more information there. So we've built in, as I said earlier, the breaks in the expo hall with some food, and then we have the receptions. This is always kind of a fun time at the end of the day to just grab a drink and walk around and see what the exhibitors have to say. Some people feel a little intimidated by those big spaces, but the hall will be open all day. So if you maybe need a break from a session and you want to walk around the exhibit hall when it's quieter, that's a strategy as well. But these are things, you know, we'd be happy to talk more about in the first timer session as well. Okay, so that wraps it up. I'm gonna stop my share so I can see everybody again.
Kyle actually has one last thing too.
Did we talk about the pre-conference session?
We talked about table talk and
Utopia.
the
Utopia.
workshop. Yes.
Yes.
There still is opportunity. So on Sunday, the 12th, and I know a lot of people have already made their travel plans, but maybe if you're driving in or if you have some flexibility, the Smithsonian is offering a workshop on Sunday from 10 to 4. It's a pre-conference event, and it's here, actually, let me just do the share again. Anyhow, it's a pre-conference workshop based on community engagement is the long and short of it is. And it is a partnership between the Smithsonian Anacostia Community Museum and the Smithsonian's Reckoning with Our Shared Future, Reckoning with Our Racial Past initiative. They have, and it's centered on a project they did called the Utopia Project. All of the information is on the website about it. They're really going all out for this workshop. I think it's going to be a very special opportunity for anyone who can attend. Right now, I think we're close to 25 attendees. There's still space for more if you have the time to do it. There is a $25 registration fee. If this is a barrier to you, please just email me and we'll work that out. They really just would love great attendance for this, and I can't stress what an opportunity this is to work with those who are working on the national level, particularly, you know, within community engagement and how museums can actually have impact within the communities they serve. Okay, was that anything else? I know I'm sure I missed a ton. I was trying to sort of motor through it.
I wanted to add one thing because I saw a question in the chat about events that people registered for. Last year, we provided everyone with like a letter that had everything that you registered for. We are not doing that this year because it's very easy for you just to log into your SEMC profile and you can see everything that you registered for.
Okay, so I can't read the chat and talk. What questions are in there that we need to address?
I think it was just that one, and then and if you signed up for like an offsite tour, you'll also get an email with a little bit of information about what to expect, perhaps a schedule of events. So you'll receive information about any offsite tours you registered for.
And then we did the buses are doing round robin for that.
For the
Also.
evening events, the buses, yeah. One of the things, at least for the Sunday and the Monday evening events, they are technically, you could walk from the Galt House. They're within a few blocks, but again, it's going to be dark. It's going to, you know, it's who knows what the weather's going to be. So we will have buses looping from the Galt House to all of the evening events. Because it's a much shorter distance than perhaps if you were in Arkansas last year, the loop will be more frequent. So if you miss a bus, and we'll have representatives from Hutchinson Design sort of helping to get people on the buses, and we will continue to update, you know, when the next bus is coming, but they will be looping to bring you back to the Galt House. So if you find yourself in an evening event and you're like, you know what, I'm out of gas, I just want to go back, there will be another bus coming shortly to take you back. I feel like the transportation aspect is much easier this year. The Tuesday evening events, there's the Speed Art Museum and the Kentucky Derby Museum. Those are a little bit farther away. I mean, that is definitely a bus ride, but again, it's, you know, within a 10-minute drive, well, divided by a big bus, but it's not too far. So we'll definitely be looping for all of that. Any other questions? What didn't we cover? No, everybody excited?
15 days.
Okay, we definitely are. Okay, well, we're right at time. I know if you didn't already eat lunch, you might have 5 minutes to go put something in your mouth. I'm about to go on to the local arrangements meeting, our final touch base with that group before we get there. So thank you all for coming to this. Thank you for supporting SEMC through membership and for prioritizing this conference and professional development. And if you're supporting staff who are coming, thank you for that. It is really important, and we're looking forward to a great few days in Louisville. If you have any questions between now and then, please email me or Carla or Heather, and we'll do our best to get them answered and get everybody feeling comfortable and excited as well. Okay. All right. Thank you. See everybody.